Welcome to Sipping on Excellence. This is Coach KJ, and I'm here with my man, my dude, the Doc.
And this is where we will be discussing the exceptional that is absolutely attainable. My friends, here's to living that extraordinary life.
Cheers.
Take 25.
Right.
Take 26.
Man, I can't begin to tell y'all what we've been going through this morning.
Take 28.
We both got a new computer because everything else just died. But we got this whole setup going, and those of you who can see on the video here,
Trying to look official.
we finally got the logo up on the screen. We're doing big things. Welcome back to another episode of Sipping on Excellence, y'all, because
That's what we do.
We're excellent.
Well, at least we're working towards it. Taking one sip at a time.
Man.
Towards that excellence.
But yeah, we got a whole great setup here that I think I'm digging now. This looks like a real studio.
I know, right?
Hopefully it sounds like a real studio.
Fake it till you make it. Boy, oh boy.
Woo, if there's ever a time to fake it till you make it,
It's today.
right now. That's how we
It's
working it
today.
out. That's how
It's
we
today.
working it today, man.
What's good?
Oh man, good day, man. Good week. I can't complain, man. Good week.
When you say a good week, what does that mean?
It means that I got a couple of deals that are closing. They started letting us do surgery again.
Okay.
You know, so things are coming around. Business is always good, and you know, any night that I'm getting 2-3 hours of sleep, that means stuff is great.
I know.
That means I'm busy and I can't get into trouble.
Right. You know, that's when you gotta have them conversations. Conversing. Believe me, I know I got one. Thank you.
When I got too much time on my hands, I start thinking about shit, and then I got to talk about it. Right?
Oh man, them lacerations I got.
Boy,
But I enjoyed them.
man,
I'm a glutton for punishment.
It's just stepping our game up, and
That's it. You know what? That's exactly what it is.
you know,
That's
I always
exactly
say
what it is.
I expect from others no more than I would expect from myself.
Right.
And so for me, it's like, let's go. When I voice things that are important, that's because they're important to me too, and I'm actually speaking to myself as well as I'm speaking to somebody else. Because it's me saying, okay, you need to do this.
Yeah.
You need to do this. You need to do this.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I'm like, well, shit, you could do it too.
Yeah, because you're a part of it.
Exactly.
You know, if you're going to be a part of it,
Oh,
be a part of it.
We got to do this.
Exactly.
You know, and so that's how it goes.
Then that's exactly where it was received.
It's like, man, we got to do something because
When you
start
start
scratching
scratching-
for it. Like, we got to do something, man.
When your arm is fully extended over your head,
It's like,
you scratch it.
I just
you're
got to
like,
scratch.
oh,
We
man.
got to get into this right now.
Right.
You know.
Right.
How was your week, man?
my week was financially challenging. No, you know what? I won't even say that. You know,
Unexpected expenses.
unexpected expenses, but also first world issues.
Yes.
First world issues. Listen, my car. Listen, shit happens.
Yeah.
You know, the mirror got knocked off. Somebody ran me off to the side of the road. Mirror got knocked off. Of course, you're not going to stop. So
No, of course
guess
not.
what? I have to fix that. It's a brand new car. It's the last thing you want to do is fix a mirror on a brand new car.
No.
But you know what? Hey, I was able to go get it fixed.
People be like, why'd you
I
tell your
figured it out.
insurance?
Right.
Because I'm smart.
So my insurance goes up? No, not today.
And I'm still going to have to pay the deductible anyway?
Right. And I don't know if you follow us on social media, but you know, I even posted a picture of me at the at the store on our story. I was like, this is what happens when you come to get a diagnostic on your computer to find out it is too it was rough.
I will say, though, we've known that plug has been going south for a little while.
I don't want to talk about it.
We've been rigging it, trying to get it to work.
You should have seen the look in the girl's face when she said, oh. And then she looked at me and said, oh. I said, oh. What's oh?
It's like when I talk to my computer guy, he's looking at my laptop and it's like, do you have a flip phone still too? I'm like, why you clowning? It works.
Man, don't we all got burners?
Hey man, it works. And so I'm like, you know what?
Right.
So we're just mouthing off about all these conversations we had this week.
But but you know, at the end of the day, it was good because it actually kind of pumped me up. You know, it's like, oh, okay.
Anything to get it amped.
Yeah, man.
Let's go.
Yeah.
LFG.
Yeah.
You know?
You ain't never lied. You ain't never lied.
So this week we're gonna get into something that everybody should be doing.
Should be doing more of.
Yes, and we're just gonna talk today, y'all, about crucial conversations.
Yeah.
You know, and we're gonna get into all different types, what that means, when to have them, who to have them with,
and I think we kind of touched on it in a series before, but you know, today we're really going to dive right into what is crucial and why it's a necessary conversation.
Right, and realizing that it's different for everybody.
Yeah.
What's crucial to me may not be crucial to somebody else.
Right.
But
they better make it crucial.
But it's still necessary, you know? And so when we were thinking about this week's topic, we were like, what can we drink? What can we mix up? Something nice, something cool, something fancy, something fresh and lively.
It got me dancing at it already. You know, when you lived in the South and you had one, it's like,
This is definitely a Southern drink, man.
Yeah,
Definitely a Southern drink. We both knew about this. As soon as we flipped open the book, because all of y'all who don't know, I got this little book that's got about 1,000 different cocktails in it. And so you know what?
Right.
As we read, we're gonna bring it to you. Only we get to enjoy it though. Sorry.
But we will show you how to make it.
Oh yeah, we'll teach y'all how to make it
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah,
We're gonna be posting those on social media.
As a matter of fact, what we decided was to post a day ahead, so that way, if you listen to our show, you can actually have a sip with us.
Right.
Wow.
While you're listening to the show.
Right.
You know? And since it comes out Wednesday mornings, you'll have the ingredients the day before.
Just don't drink it in your car on the way to work.
And save that podcast for when you get home.
Right.
If you got kids, when you put the kids to bed, grab a cocktail and then listen to us talk shit.
Yeah.
Give you a little excellence.
Yeah.
So this week, great Southern drink. First time I had it was in Louisiana. And New Orleans.
I think that's where we all had it.
That's where we all had it. And it's called a Hurricane. And it is a combination of light and dark rum. It's got passion fruit juice. It's got lime juice. It's got pineapple juice. What's the other thing? Oh, orange juice.
Orange juice.
And bitters.
Yes.
And you mix it all together and you serve it in a wine glass. Although, when we had them, they're in a big plastic tube with a straw.
That's super long.
Super long and super strong.
Oh my goodness.
So,
and it was slushy.
Yeah, right. And you were walking around Bourbon Street.
Right. Falling over by the end of the block.
Right. So here's to all you out there sipping on excellence with us. And Coach KJ, cheers to you.
Cheers to you, my man.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Coach made this one, and this is good. It's dangerous because it's so good.
Yeah, I'm gonna cheer one more time. Yeah.
This is dangerous because it's so good. Yeah. So before we get into the meat and potatoes of it all, Coach, what's wrong with y'all?
Yeah, actually, I have after going, so right before we record, I run and grab coffee, and so I'm gonna start with this one.
Yeah.
So there was a gentleman that, it's a beautiful day today, sunny, people got their nice cars out, drop tops, and the guy was at, I'll just call it Bucks,
He's at the coffee shop.
He's at the coffee shop. And this guy walks over to this gentleman, didn't go up to his car, but just kind of like, hey man, that's a nice car. Very pleasant, very happy. Guy got in his car, was like, thanks, and just drove off. And I was like, wow.
Almost like
he was mad.
Like he was mad that you complimented him.
Right.
Like, ain't nobody trying to steal your shit. I'm just saying, nice car, man.
And so I'm just sitting there, I'm just chuckling like, wow. And the guy looks over at me and said, well, what you laughing at? I was like, oh, you know what I'm laughing at? I'm laughing at how angry that guy was to say thank you. Like, he's mad. So when he went to buy the car, he said, I'll take that beautiful car with that wonderful coffee tone interior. And I love this price. Thanks.
He's just angry.
Yeah, just everywhere he goes, he's angry. I said, well, it makes no sense.
But there are people like that, man, that are just angry for no reason.
Right.
All the damn time.
Right.
Right.
And you're driving a beautiful car. You're happy. Life's good. And it's just...
No. he's not happy and his life isn't good.
That's true. He bought that car to try to make himself.
That's why he's angry. You know.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things where how do you deal with crap like that?
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
and we always wonder, you
It's
know,
fun.
what does that mean? You know?
Exactly.
And so it just rubs me wrong when you have every reason to be cool. Maybe you just caught him on a shitty day.
I didn't catch him because I don't care.
True.
I know where I am.
Right? He's like,
I know
give a
where I
shit.
am. Yeah, exactly. I know exactly where I am. I was not going to give that guy the time of day. I'm thinking in my head, that's a nice car. That's all he gets.
That's all. It's nice. He's mad. Oh well.
Right.
But another thing, but not a what's wrong with y'all, but something cool that I think I want to share with everybody about what we see every week
Okay.
when we go train. So, you know how there are people who are, you can tell the way they treat people, and we always say this, by how they treat the people they don't have to be nice to.
Right.
So there's this guy that we see every week who pulls up and parks at the park with a different Rolls Royce. It's insane. And gets out of his car, he's got these two little dogs, and every time that we train,
$1,000 pair of shoes.
yeah, $1,000 pair of sneakers every week.
Right.
And polo shirt.
Yeah.
You know, flipped up collar.
Flipped up collar.
collar. But he's probably, 50s,
Maybe early 50s.
maybe early 50s,
Yeah.
and couldn't be nicer. His dogs run over to us every week. We play with them for a little while. We don't mind that they come up to us in the middle of the workout. He doesn't say much. He's like, hey, how you guys doing? And just lets us play with the dogs for a little bit. And then he's like, all right, dogs are ready to go, man. It's great to see you guys. Take care. And just walks off. But it's so pleasant. And you get so many wealthy people in this neighborhood that almost are mad that we're there,
Oh yeah, they give us the stink eye. We've gotten the stink eye a couple times.
for sure.
And we laugh at it, we turn it off.
And so when you see this guy, you're like, very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. And right in line with what we're talking about today, crucial conversations. They don't have to be long conversations. They can be little short ones, kind of like the one you had with Bernie today.
Yeah.
Bernie is this dude who just turned 100, right?
Yeah, turned 100.
Just turned 100. And we see him every week. He comes out to the park with his walker, positions it in the sun, sits down and watches us work out, or just gets the sun, stays there for a little bit, and leaves. But he always, from the first time, has always been like, hey, how you guys doing?
Oh yeah.
And we met him right before his birthday. And today, noticed I was late.
Yeah.
And so it's just, even the unspoken crucial conversation is that.
Right.
Right there. This guy, old gentleman, what we noticed with him and what we noticed with the other guy is that the unspoken conversation of how are you, or just the look of the nod and
The gentle pleasantry.
of I respect you, you respect me, because we're in this space together.
Correct.
And we're gonna be cool about it.
Right.
That right there is a conversation, even if nothing's being said.
Right.
Which is, I think nowadays, is crucial.
Right. Yeah. That is the human experience. I know we're going to keep harping on those two words, human experience, because that is exactly what it's about.
Yeah, right.
And it's engagement. We're here not just to enlighten, but to just be in each other's presence and acknowledge each other and give each other a touch of spirit, really.
Yeah.
Because I know every time I see, the guy with the dogs, and he comes up and the level of pleasantry, you like, and I said something today, I wish I wrote it down. It's something like, just because he is doesn't mean he has to.
Correct. That's exactly what you said.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's,
Because
think about that.
There's an expectation behind, a conceived expectation behind how he should be acting.
Right.
And he is nowhere close to that.
At all.
He doesn't have to.
And like I said, we see him roll up in these different cars. These,
we've
seen
$2 million
$2 million worth of cars.
Yeah.
And he pulls up, parks, gets out, speaks to us, walks, leaves, and is smiling, pleasant, and people are like, oh, well, maybe he has a reason to be happy and pleasant because he's well.
Hell yeah.
You're right. But at the end of the day, there's so many rich people that are angry and mad at the world, like the dude you saw at the coffee shop.
Yeah.
You know, and he doesn't have to be pleasant. He can come, not have to speak, walk his dogs, get back in the car, go home. But why not? It doesn't hurt him to be the nice guy, you know. And I think he knows that.
Right.
He's living the life that most wealthy people should live, which is, dude, I've made it.
Right.
You know, I've made it. I'm cool with everybody.
Right.
You ain't screwing up my day.
Right.
You know,
It's another funny thing. As beautiful as his cars are, he parallel parks absolutely perfect. Like, you know, some people just don't care. They park in the street because they know that I have this beautiful vehicle.
Nobody's gonna mess
with
it.
No, he's like, no, I'm a perfectly parked. Each and every time.
Yeah. You know,
like,
just
okay.
Like I said, and I just like his disposition.
Yeah.
You know, and that's cool. And let's dive deep into this topic for today. And when we define crucial conversations, how would you define like what that means to you? What's a crucial conversation in your world?
A crucial conversation for me would be a very necessary conversation that's going to allow me to sleep at night.
Okay.
That's going to get whatever it is off my chest that could possibly be holding me back in some ways.
Right.
And could possibly be holding both of us back if I'm having a conversation with the other person.
Right.
Because they're either not knowing or they're running away from the idea that we need to have this conversation. So my belief is that instead of trying to go over or around these things that we need to tackle, we're going to go straight through them so we can get to the finish line a whole lot faster and create a space that you can create more.
Right. But what keeps you, or what do you think in your world prevents you from having these crucial conversations? What inside you?
Fear. Absolute fear.
Fear of what?
Fear of there's a fear of disappointment. There's a fear of the feedback.
How somebody's going to react and respond.
Right. Because, you know, we don't want to make waves. I think the more waves you make, the better off the water's going to be.
Right.
The tide's going to be that much greater.
Do you think now that as we mature in age, it becomes easier or more difficult to have these crucial conversations?
I think it becomes easier.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely becomes easier to hear.
Right.
You know what I mean? When people have conversations with me about, oh, this is the shit that's wrong with you, or we need to talk about this. I'm old enough and mature enough now to realize I'm not going to take this personally, even though it is about me personally. I look at it more as either constructive criticism or me just needing to listen to how somebody else feels about the way that I'm acting or things that I'm doing.
Right.
You know, in my 20s, I'm going to miss me with that shit.
Right.
You know, I don't want to hear that.
But also you have to think, anytime that someone is delivering information that you possibly need to hear, and it's their position, you don't have to always take it, but you should at least try to listen to it because you never know where they're coming from.
Correct.
And because they might receive some information differently than you actually been extending however they're feeling about you. So like you said, you know, something that may have rubbed, let's say a young lady, you said something that may have rubbed her wrong way, but you didn't know you did. It just happened to rub her the wrong way.
Right.
But she won't tell you, so now she's going to hold it against you as opposed to telling you, and you're like, oh, I didn't think of it that way, or I didn't mean it that way.
Right. Well, there's, and you have to look at the audience.
Yeah.
Who are you? Who's on the receiving end of this conversation? You know, and your delivery can't be the same.
No.
To each one.
No.
Like a conversation I would have with you is gonna be very different than a conversation I have. Well, no, the conversation I have with you or with my brother is gonna be the same because we're family anyway. We don't talk. But a conversation I may have with somebody I'm dating versus a conversation I'm gonna have with my mom, or versus a conversation I'm gonna have with my staff, somebody who works for me. Very different, because in all those walks of life versus just a conversation with a friend, all of those different aspects of your life, you have to have a different approach, because that conversation, that crucial conversation, is going to be received very differently. And realize when you're talking to people, make it a conversation and not a lecture.
Right.
You know,
Talk to and not act.
exactly. You know, make it a real conversation and not just like I said, like a lecture.
Yeah.
For example, you know, had a conversation with my brother, but it was a conversation, you know, you and I talked about, a conversation we need to have for a long time. And it's just like, no, look, here's how I'm feeling about a bunch of different stuff. And then once it's done, you're like, oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
I had a conversation with my staff. You know, whenever something goes wrong in my office,
Okay.
I realize, and it doesn't happen often because my squad is tight, but before they were tight and there was multiple moving parts, I would have to sit down and voice my opinion about what's going on in my office and my expectations. Crucial conversations start with you voicing your expectations.
Yeah.
You
But
know?
you're also the thing about with you in your office, you are the top of the command. You're
Correct.
the chain of command. So you have to set the tone for what it is that you want and how people need to work around and with you, so that way you can be a great moving ship all the way around.
Right, but also learning that they make the ship move.
Oh, of course.
And so they have ideas as to how it should work.
Right.
And I would be stupid to not take those suggestions.
Oh, yeah.
And so the crucial conversation starts with saying, look, here's what I think.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to dictate what you have to do, but I'm open to suggestions. I want you to give me feedback on what should be done. And so that allows them to overcome their fear of having that crucial conversation with me.
I like to say it's almost like this. So let's say you're doing an outline. You create the title and you create the categories. And then you create the expectations so we can all reach this level.
Right.
Now you're just having them fill in all the details, because they may all offer something a little different. And then you can take that and tweak it to however you need to.
True.
But it's going to start with you creating that dynamic with your team. But
Right.
they are definitely a part of your team, and they're definitely just as important to your team. You're not pushing them. You're not trying to drag them.
Right.
You're not trying to just stay and catch up.
No.
You're like, here, let's all walk together.
Exactly. And when you have that conversation, when you let them know, well, if you have the conversation, then you don't take any suggestions from your subordinates or people that work under you, then they're going to start fearing having that conversation with
Right.
you, and they'll never bring it up. And so I've made it with my staff in my office, just look, you guys can come to me with anything, whether it's your personal life, whether it's work life, whatever you want, no judgment. All I'm going to do is give you my suggestions. We're going to see when it comes to work, we're going to see where our ideas merge. And if you give me an idea and it doesn't work, then we're going to do what I want. But if it works,
Right.
great. Or if I give you a suggestion, I may not know it. I may be asking too much and not know it.
Right.
You know, and then when you come back and tell me, look, this isn't going to work, and here's all the reasons why.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I'm not going to tell you, no, make it work. I'm going to be like, well, let's
Yeah.
work around it.
Yeah.
You know, so that in the workplace, I think those crucial conversations have to be had. I have also at work very similar, smaller crucial conversations, which are basically, if I'm in the operating room, you know me, I like hip hop music, so the lyrics, everything else are,
Oh, it goes in. And
it goes in.
Yeah.
But if there's somebody in the room that I don't know, I'm always going to have the conversation first. Are you offended by any type of music? Are you this, or is there anything I need to know now that may offend you? If so, I just won't play it.
Right.
But if you don't have that conversation,
Mm-hmm.
somebody may be offended by what's going on, never say anything to you until you get that letter in the mail that says, oh, you need to go to sensitivity training, or you need to do
Right.
You know?
I mean, think about it. When I used to teach class, before class, every single class that I taught, I would say, listen, for those of you that don't know, I play everything, and I play it in its most original form. But we're all adult in here, correct? Are we going to be okay? If it's a problem, I understand. And then it'll say, all right, we good? All right, here we go. But I'm letting it fly.
But you have to.
Yeah.
You know, and as
You set
time
people up.
as time has gone on,
Yeah.
we've had to be even more crucial with our conversations because you have to be able to to talk about it. Otherwise, you get your ass in a vice, you know? And we have to be careful more so now than ever. And it's just,
I think it's
annoying sometimes.
Yeah, but it's also the fastest road to success. It is the fastest road to success because success is not a bunch of bubbles and chocolates and
right.
you know, success
Roses and flowers.
You know, we had this conversation the other day. It's the dirt, it's the soil,
it's all of that.
It's everything. It's the dust in the corner. It's everything, and that is where I want to be.
That's where you have to be.
Exactly. You know, and like you said earlier, one of the things that, you know, because I used to have a hard time with that, and it wasn't literally how I was working to help other people feel okay. It was me just not projecting my own energy, what I needed to say or how I felt.
Right.
And I became way too internal, and I was getting sick all the time. I was tired all the time.
Right, because that stress is a killer. That stress eats you.
Immediately, your body will always show the results of what you're going through mentally.
And you bottle that up, especially when you're bottling up emotions and not having conversations, especially with people you care about, like your family.
Yeah.
You know, if you're at odds with your family or family members, and you just, I gotta say something, but I don't because I'm afraid of what reaction that may have. When you learn to say, excuse my language, y'all, when you learn to say, fuck it, I gotta have this conversation, it's almost like a monkey jumps off your back. Regardless of the outcome of that conversation, the fact that you had it makes it easier to deal with what's next.
And the thing is, if it's a loved one, having that conversation, like I said earlier, is going to create the space to grow. It's going to, because now that's gone. You don't have to look back at it. They might not, but you can grow from that. And one of the best things I can always say is right after you had it, so what can we do to not go back to this? Or what can we do to go forward? Or what are some of your thoughts that will help us move forward so we don't have to look back at that road?
Right.
Because we both know where that stood. So, and we both know where we stand. So let's both stand where we want to go.
Right. And you have to be prepared for the consequence of that conversation.
Oh, of course.
You know, and where do you see this the most? When people break up. You know, you look at relationships and they just linger on because everybody's afraid to have that conversation. Or, you know, things like, I always say when you're getting into a relationship with somebody, we didn't really talk about this in our did we? Not on our relationship episode. Did we even have one? I think we did.
Yeah, I think.
Right. But having conversations early on about what you expect from that relationship, because the deeper you get into it, for example, I think one of the biggest things is with men and women, do you want kids? Do you not want kids? Mm-hmm. And if you wait till you're 8 months in to have that crucial conversation, what happens when you realize, oh shit, my partner never wanted kids?
Right.
Either side. Then what? You wasted 8 months of your life going towards a relationship because, like we talked about, date with intention. Yeah. You're intending to go further, but you're on opposite sides.
Right.
You can't come back from that. So you have that crucial conversation early. People are like, oh, when should you have that? You can find out if somebody's interested in having kids and all that stuff, their life's plan in the first or second date. You know, I mean, think about it. You can ask them, what are your thoughts on kids and marriage and all that stuff? Yeah. If people are like, I'm not interested in getting married, especially now that, you know, when you're in your 20s, you don't have that conversation. 30s and 40s, you have that conversation because it's important. People get to the end goal quicker.
Especially now because of, you know, health and everything else. It is. I mean, I know of people now in their early 30s, they're all freezing their eggs because they have to, because their health will not make it into their 40s where they're able to carry.
Right. Or able to actually conceive.
Yeah.
They can carry, but they won't be able to conceive because, believe it or not, eggs dry up. Eggs, you lose them, they die. Yeah. That's just it. And so without having those conversations, you don't know people's intentions, their wants. You know, do you meet somebody and you realize, oh, this guy never wanted to be in a relationship. He's just having fun. But if you don't have that conversation, how would you ever know? Then you get mad at him when he's like, oh, hold on, I'm not in a relationship.
Yeah.
Well, I thought, did you have that conversation with me or with him or with her? You didn't.
Right.
And the reason why I bring this up, I had a conversation with a friend of mine, and I told her today she sparked some content. So, so that's why I was like, when we decided this conversation on Wednesday to have this today, and her and I had this conversation last night.
My question is, do you think, and I say this because it's very recent, do you think Deezus and Mura had a conversation?
Nope. I think they've had conversations. I think they didn't have a crucial conversation.
Let me ask you, do you think they had conversations, or were they talking at each other? Possibly. Because there's a difference.
I think
you could talk to each other, or you could talk at each other.
I think they were talking at each other. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they were talking to each other, but it happens, and so a friend of mine is dealing with a guy she's dating, blah, blah, whatever. Mm-hmm. And I was like, and I've been telling her, have you had the crucial conversation? He wants a family, she doesn't. But then in her mind, well, if I have this conversation, she's fearful of this fearful of confrontation. They hate confrontation. But if I have this conversation, and what if he's on the same page as me and we're just dating, having fun? I was like, well, did you have that conversation? She's like, I don't even know if he wants a relationship with me. Did you have that conversation? So otherwise, you're just guessing.
It's so funny how people, even just the simplicity of deciding whether they're going to be, what's the word I'm looking for?
If they're going to be monogamous in a relationship, or if you're just, this is fun for now.
Yeah.
And yes, you live in different cities, but you see each other almost every week. It's like, have the conversation, because time keeps going by. And I told you when you first started dating him, have the conversation. Tell him, well, I didn't know. Well, tell him that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. You don't have to have definites when you have conversations. Right. I'm not sure if I want a family. I'm not sure if I want kids. I'm not sure if I want to be in a relationship. Cool. That gives the other person the opportunity to decide if they want to stick around and see where you go, or if they're like, hell, I want something more definitive. Nice to meet you. I'm out. But you still don't know unless you have that conversation.
And I think what sucks is, especially in regards to your friend, is he's already said what he wants. And has she explained to him?
No.
So so she's leading him on.
And she was like, well, we kind of joked around with it when we first started dating. I'm like, but you're 5-6 months in now. I'm like, you guys are now getting into the thick of it. You need to tell him, hey, let me ask you a question. What if I didn't? And I told her, I was like, here's the easy way to do it. Just segue into it. Let me ask you a question. Where do you see yourself in the next year? Year, 2 years? Are you trying to have married? You're trying to get married? You're trying to have kids? What do you see happening with me? Where do you see this going?
Yeah.
And I was like, most guys hate that we need to talk. But when you have that conversation about where do you see this going, you don't have that conversation day one. You realize, okay, I'm starting to like him a lot. He's starting to like me a lot. Now's the time. Where do we see this going?
What's interesting, I'm just thinking, I love saying what's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
What's interesting is that...
What if it's not interesting?
It might not be. Is that, especially for a man that says, I want a family, typically he's probably okay with trying to figure out, like, okay, where is this going? If you ask him where do I think it's going, he's probably more inclined to be able to answer that without.
And he's probably already thought about it.
Yeah.
If this is a guy in his 40s or 30s, late 30s, whatever his age is. He's already thought about, do I see myself having a future with this woman?
Right.
He's not going to tell you his thoughts. He's not rolling like, look, I don't see this going anywhere, but let's have some fun. Most guys won't do that because of the fear that a woman might just be like, well, F that, I'm out.
Would they go, yeah, wherever you want to
go. Right? It's like men avoid...
where you're at.
Men avoid certain conversations.
Yeah.
Simply for the fact that the outcome may be me not getting what I want. So, I'm just going to... But if she brings it up, you have to answer. Or if you let him know, this is where I am. are you meeting me in this same space, or do I need to move on?
Yeah, but of course, we had the whole man conversation. So on one of our episodes, and that's one of the missing elements is their idea of being able to stand up for who they are, what they believe in, what their standards are, and what they feel.
Exactly.
So we're dealing with a different day and age of men for the most part, or women are, and let alone men dealing with a whole different day and age of women. So everybody's new.
Well, and this guy has had the conversation.
Yeah.
Or should I say, he's voiced his opinion because there was no conversation.
Exactly.
Because she didn't tell hers.
He's already open.
She didn't come and say, well, here's what I think.
I'm about to have a crucial conversation with you. You better sip on that hurricane.
Relax. I'm about to get loose here in a minute.
You got me over here drinking by myself.
but he's had the conversation, or he's brought it up at least,
right? And
she hasn't.
Yeah.
And that's just, it's like at some point you're not being fair to him because of your fear of, and you're willing to walk away, but you won't even tell him why you would walk away.
Mm-hmm.
Makes no sense, right? It's like you won't tell him why you would walk away. You're just gonna try to walk away. If you just try to walk away, he's not gonna let you. You've already tried once, and he's like, "No, I'm good." You tried to put it on him.
Right.
Oh, maybe it's not gonna work because of this, because of something with you. He's like, "No, it'll work because of me." Now, is it you?
I think that's also the sad state of affairs as well. Is people are always banking on the negative, and they're like looking forward to it so they can be okay.
Yes.
As opposed to reaching for what's good and shooting for the stars. And if you don't hit a star, you hit a moon. I hate when people go the opposite way because the stars are further than the moon.
Right.
Anyway,
yes.
I digress.
But another crucial conversation that people don't have is conversations about money.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody avoids talking about money, especially in relationships, or, for example, if somebody owes you money. People are afraid to say, hey, look, they'll see people spending money, doing all this stuff, and like, hey, you still owe me, whatever it may be. MF, pay your bill. Or just with families, people hate to talk about money. People hate to have anything to do with money when it comes to a conversation, but yet the world revolves around it, and everybody thinks it's taboo to talk about it. It's a crucial conversation. Bills got to get paid. You got to talk about all of that.
Right.
Another good one, and this is kind of funny, that with men and women alike, say you're going out for the night, and your boy steps out in some crazy whack shit gear, whatever it is.
Okay.
He's got on some platform shoes with the fish in the bottom.
I mean,
what you realize is that nobody had that crucial conversation with him, like, dog,
we got to straighten this out.
What you doing? And you see that with, sometimes you go out and you see some things that women may have on, and you're like, damn, you must not have any girlfriends because they let you come out the house like that. But the reason is, you won't have conversations with your friends because you think it may upset them and may put a strain on your friendship. When in actuality, when you're not having these crucial conversations about how you feel or what you expect in a friendship, it puts more of a strain to bottle that shit in, and then one day it blows up and then the friendship's done. A friendship will recover if you're like, hey man, I didn't like how you spoke to me the other day, or
right.
Don't call me out in front of my girl, or whatever it may be. But if you bottle it up and it keeps happening, then you don't have that conversation. Once it comes out, it ain't a conversation anymore.
Yeah.
I'm at you.
But crucial conversation will never happen in front of other people. It will always, a true crucial conversation, you give a two good dams and a good F about someone, you will never ever call them out in front of anybody. You will pull them aside, you will have a conversation. And if you don't have the opportunity to see them in person, you're going to try to FaceTime them.
You create the opportunity.
It's kind of like, and I'm all over the place with this, but it's kind of like if we're good friends,
mm-hmm.
I'm not going to post on Facebook for your birthday. I'm going to call
you. Yeah.
I'm gonna.
Or at the very least, I'm gonna shoot you a text.
Yeah,
and be like direct text to you, like, hey, girl, or hey,
I'm not on
man,
your
happy
feed.
birthday, man.
Yeah.
I'm not just going to be one of the 50,000 followers that say happy birthday.
Yeah, exactly.
Clickbait.
Exactly. But but I think that people are avoiding the necessary conversations, thinking they're protecting someone, but they're not only not protecting that person, they're hurting them more, and they're hurting themselves. They're hurting that person more because now your thought pattern is going into that friendship or that relationship differently.
Yeah.
So you're not bonding in your purest form as a quote unquote friend. So you're now hurting that relationship as a friend because you're not being your true self.
Yeah.
And they're living in this denial space that everything's okay and you're feeling a certain way. So guess what? You're not really going to sleep at night. That person's going to sleep thinking you're the best ever and you're in denial and everybody's missing out.
So there's also, I think, some crucial conversations that shouldn't, well, if there's no benefit to having that conversation. So I'll give you an example.
Okay.
Good friend of mine, we used to date years ago. She's now married with kids, blah, blah, whatever, right? And still in the back of her mind, crucial conversation is, I still want to know why it didn't work. You know what I mean? Like, why it didn't work out. And I dance around the conversation, I make jokes, whatever. And the reason why is because I know why it didn't work, but you still holding on to why it didn't work doesn't help you in your current marriage. You've been married for years now. Let it go. Let's not have that conversation because then if I say it didn't work with us because of X, Y, and Z, is it something you're going to try to change? It's not something wrong with your character. Your husband loves you that it didn't work out between us.
Right.
You know? So why does that's the crucial conversation that I continue to avoid because is it important?
Yeah.
It may be important to her, but does it help her any?
Yeah. And I mean, are you guys friends?
Oh yeah.
Then the crucial conversation should come from you being like, why do you need this if it's going to hurt the possibility of what you currently have?
Or do you need this so you can move on? You got married, so you've moved on. You got married, you got kids.
Right. So you've already moved on.
Or have you? That's the crucial conversation.
That you need to have with yourself.
Yes. Have I moved on?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? And if you haven't, then you need to ask yourself why. Why'd you get married if you haven't moved on?
Yeah.
Not my problem.
Yeah.
But I'm willing to have that conversation with you after you, like you just said,
Wow.
after you have that conversation with yourself.
Wow.
You know?
That's rough. That's rough. Which goes into the next one. I think people need to have more crucial conversations with themselves.
Yes. I think they don't. People are like, well, what does that mean? You know exactly. I mean, even if you need to stand in the mirror and actually talk.
You know what I see that as? That's when they get busy. That's when the busy work kicks in. They're doing other things that's going to make them happy. They think.
Well, that's how you live in denial.
Mm-hmm. That's it. That's all. That's all it is.
And if you're living in denial, then what?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and you don't get anywhere with that. So you have to, number one, be real with yourself. Yeah. Have that conversation with yourself. Like I said, look in the mirror and be like, all right, dude, what's your problem? Let's get past the root of this. What is going on with me that prevents, what's holding me back?
What is the deep-seated issue right here, right now that I need to deal with?
Right.
Address it. Write it out. Put it on the board. Then say, you know what? I forgive you for having this.
Whatever that is.
Whatever that is.
Yes.
And I am giving grace to you so you can move forward. This is what you're saying to yourself in the mirror. I'm giving you grace so you can move forward from this, and this. Now, this is what I'm going to create now because of this is not where I want to be. You're taking yourself step by step to progress forward. That's the conversation.
Right, and even if you begin having that conversation with yourself, say you need to have a conversation with someone else,
right.
A crucial conversation. Have a conversation with yourself and be real with yourself and say, hey, look, if I bring this up, here's what could possibly happen. Here's what could possibly be said. Am I prepared for that? And if it goes this way and that person cuts me off or doesn't receive it well, am I going to be okay with that outcome? Because I know in my heart that it was the right conversation to have. You gotta, but you can't have that conversation after you've opened your trap. you gotta have it first. You gotta have that conversation with yourself first, and then say, okay, yeah, I think I'm ready. Or if not, don't go that route.
Yeah, there's a book out there now. I saw it and I was interested in it, but I didn't pick it up. And it has something to do with it's something like the power of not being liked. So basically, you are addressing and tackling on the things in your lives without worrying about being liked versus, oh my God, if I say the right thing, oh my God, he's gonna feel this way about me. Who cares?
Right, and I think it just, with maturity, you start to understand that, you know what, I don't care.
Yeah.
Meaning, not I don't care, but meaning I'm okay with not having a filter and just saying what needs to be said and receiving what needs to be received without feeling some kind of way.
Yeah, because for me right now, every time there's a crucial conversation, I go, oh, okay. Like I'm pumped because at that point in time, I needed that kick.
Yeah.
I needed that jolt. It's like if you have someone go to the hospital, go under.
Giving me a jolt.
When you go to the hospital, a person's under. They give you the shockers. Are you really? Oh yeah, I like it. Yeah, keep that cup in your hand, bruh.
This conversation might go left, y'all, but guess what? That's why y'all are here, because I want to see it go down.
Next thing you know, we 75, 85 minutes in.
Right.
The longest conversation ever.
But that's why we have them.
Exactly.
This is necessary conversations. And here's the thing. We are having crucial conversations with our audience every week. Because we talk about the things, whether or not people want us to talk about them or not.
Right.
Like I think one of the best things we got was the podcast that was recently released, Nah, I'm good. The power of no.
Oh my God.
So many people feel that particular sentiment, but in a crucial conversation, they don't know how to say no.
Yeah.
And
the thing about the power of no, the nah, I'm good, it's so relaxing. It's carefree. It's lighthearted. People don't know how to receive it, and it's still lighthearted.
Right.
That people are kind of floating to the back of their head, like, oh yeah, no, I'm good.
Exactly.
Yeah. And next thing you know, that person's trying to figure out how they're going to have a conversation with you about why.
Yeah, you can't be afraid, man. Fear of talking to someone. They're another human being. They put their pants on one leg at a time, just like I do. Yeah. How are you afraid of having a conversation with somebody? Why? Because what? You're afraid they're gonna jump up and choke you out? Then you might need to have that over the phone.
And fear is just unknown. That's all it is.
Well, and it's an unrealistic fear because you're afraid that somebody's not gonna talk to you anymore. Well, then you're having a relationship with that person, whether it's a friendship, a work relationship, whatever it is, under false pretense.
Yeah.
Because you are wishing you could say one thing, but you're afraid to say it because you're afraid of their reaction.
Yeah.
Get over that shit. Get over yourself.
Yeah. And let's just address fear. Fear, it sucks because it's not real. It's not.
It's in our minds.
Right.
People will say it's real.
It's
your perception of it is real to you, but it's your perception. It's how it's what you put out there.
Right. And and the fear is what we don't know.
Yeah.
It is something that is created in our head that exists, and it doesn't exist.
No.
It doesn't exist.
I'm afraid of heights, but I don't know why. It's not like I got PTSD because I fell off a building. I just...
Oh, I still have a fear of heights. I jumped off a cliff. I still have a fear of heights.
Yeah, I ain't jumping off no cliff.
Rick's Cafe in Jamaica.
Yeah.
I didn't did it once.
Yep.
I got married and look at me now. Remarried.
Jumped off that cliff twice.
That was a deeper cliff that second time.
Shit.
But that was a crucial conversation I had to have.
Yep.
And she needed to hear it. She needed to hear it at that time. You know, it was one of those things. I was just like, look, you know, it sounded good to her, like, oh yeah, I want a divorce. But, you know, she just knew that she didn't want to carry on, she thought, but she didn't want to go through all the ramifications that came along with getting a divorce. So she presented the papers to me like way later.
Right.
I was trying to draw up papers. I couldn't get them to her fast enough after I figured it out. Because it got to the point one day she kept coming at me about paying this, doing that. So she wanted this single life, wanted me to take care of everything. One day I was just like, oh yeah, no, I think I'm done too.
Yeah, it's like I'm out.
Okay. And she's like, wait, I'm supposed to be the one that's ready to go.
Right.
When I'm ready to go.
Right.
You're not supposed to be ready to go. I'm like, no. And then she's like, oh, you gonna take it? I was like, yeah, sure. As soon as you sign those papers. You gonna do that? As soon as you sign those papers. That was my answer to everything. I didn't have any other text. All I had to do was just copy and repeat. You know, just copy and paste.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's a friend of mine right now who is in that situation of she needs to be out.
Okay.
You know, but there's kids involved, blah blah blah, all this stuff, and it's having partial crucial conversations. And the last part of that conversation is like, I just need to go. I just need to be out. But she's afraid, fearful of going there because of, I don't know what I'm going to do if I have that conversation. I don't know what to do next. So I can't right now. And I keep it real. I'm like, you know how to fix the problem. You just are afraid to fix it.
Right.
You know?
There's an unknown.
Yeah.
There's a world out there. And the thing is, they don't look at the world as being like the sea is my oyster. You know, they think of it as like, it's going to devour me.
Right.
As opposed to like, oh, there's all these opportunities. There's a plethora of things I can do.
Yes.
But they're like, oh my God, I can't do anything. This is all I know. Think about when you have that first job and you're like, oh man, I'm making so much money. I'm doing well. I can't imagine what's going on after this.
Right.
And then the next thing, and the next thing, and you can't see it.
Right. It's hard to appreciate or even wrap your head around something that you've never seen before.
The trees for the forest.
You know, and so it's one of those things that, okay, damn, how do I get there if I don't know what there is?
Right.
You know. Yeah, man. Good conversation.
Yeah.
Great conversation. Great crucial conversation. And like I said, all of our conversations have been crucial.
Yes.
And it's one of those things where we need to continue to have it.
Yeah, I know.
You know. New setup, new everything today. Hopefully it all worked.
I got a crucial conversation. I hate you. I hate you.
If y'all hear this podcast, that means we got it right.
I hate you. I want to rock right now.
I wanna rock with you.
Where to go find you? Hurry up. We almost
Lionel Hunt at Lionel Hunt on IG and at huntspine.com.
All right, you can
Coach
find
KJ.
me at Coach KJ Knows, at Coach KJ Knows on Instagram and CoachKJ.com if you have questions.
Check us out on at podcastsoe.com. Everything Coaching KJ that you want to ever hear about, send us DMs, send us emails, text, whatever you want to do.
Send us love, send us hate.
That's
we want
right.
it all. Just make sure you subscribe.
Give us your suggestions, and let's keep it moving, man. Another
I
week.
love it, man. God
Always a
bless you,
good one, man.
We're out.
We out, y'all.
Oh, easy, Trigger. Easy.